Hi Sam, good morning to you.
Good morning once again, Lebo. Listen, a little bit earlier, I found you a really cool job as an underwater model. We gotta have to talk about that job for you, Lebo. And the money apparently is very, very good. There are some criteria, however, to what it takes to become an underwater model. But we will work that out. We continue our broadcast from the Ticket Pro Dome here in the north of Johannesburg. So we've shown you an underwater studio. We have spoken to Craig Anderson, who's all about street photography, talked to Matt Raven, who's the organizer, and kind of what it takes to put this event together. And as you know, at 9 o'clock, the doors will open. Right now, one of the exhibitors here, she's been part of the exhibition for the last 3 years. Of course, I'm talking about Karlien Murray, who is from @Photo. Karlien, thank you very much for joining us on Morning Live. Quickly talk to me about a business like this and being part of the Photo and Film Expo and what it really does for your business.
Well, being part of the photo and film for me every year is showing some respect. It's touching base with photographers that come from far away. It's the one event in the year where people get together, not just on a professional level, but also on a social level. So I get to see photographers that I speak to on email from all over the country and even outside of our borders. So for me, it's definitely social. Being visible and having our brand here is one thing, but we only print for professional photographers. So for us, this is really an industry event and an opportunity to touch base, hang out, and just give a little bit back in terms of our time.
You and I had a conversation off air about the meaning of print. You know, in this digitally driven world that we live in at the moment, we store everything on a device. The device gets lost. There goes your life.
It's about leaving a legacy and having a history. You know, all of us have a story to tell. And for me personally, I still have boxes of old photographs. There's moments in my life that But I find that with my children, for instance, terrible because I'm a printer, I should have lots of prints in my home. My kids have parts of their history completely missing. There are documents that I've stored on hard drives, on a computer. Those things get stolen, they get lost, they get damaged, and it's lost, it's gone forever. So for me, the joy of printing is much more than just the beautiful professional prints that we see every day. It's about telling your individual story. For me, something in hand has more value, but I'm more of a tactile, visual person. And a memory is something that fades. Print is something that lasts forever.
How did you get into the printing business, by the way?
I'm the ultimate pom-pom girl. That's actually how it started. I wanted to be a photographer. So I admired two commercial photographers for my years that I was working in the spa industry. I used to evaluate their portfolios for awards. And I found them, started literally stalking them, hanging out in their studio to learn photography. I wanted to be just like them. After 5 years, I realized it's not quite as easy as I thought it would be. In my opinion, I always thought that if you could play a musical instrument, you became a rock star. I've realized now that if you don't, you become a photographer. The second best thing to being a photographer was having the ability to print for them. I have the best job on the planet. I see the most exquisite images. I see the most beautiful stories told. So that is how I ended up purchasing a lab. Our business has been around for 13 years. I've been running it for 3. And it's, like I said to you earlier, it's the most fun you can have with your clothes on. There's nothing better than doing what I do.
I've never thought of the printing business in that way. One of the questions I asked Matt a little bit earlier, I was talking about the advancement of technology and the digital space, that you have a lot of armchair photographers, for lack of a better description. From your perspective, have you seen a growth in the industry? Are more and more young people interested in photography? Are we seeing it expanding on the African continent?
Absolutely. One of my core passions initially from when I was a student in the late 80s, early 90s has been education. That is something that I invested most of my young adult life to. So we very closely work together with the TUT as well as with the Open Window Institute. The talent that is coming out of the South African institutions that I've seen in the past 3 years surpasses anything that I've seen internationally. The passion, the talent, the drive, and the entrepreneurship that these young photographers have is ridiculous. There's definitely a growth in the industry, both in the wedding industry. We've got one of the biggest wedding industries in the world, as well as commercial photography. It's heartwarming to see. There's been a fluctuation, it ebbs and it flows, because digital does make photography really easily acceptable or accessible. It's not that expensive. Also, you find that it looks really cool. So there's a lot of people like me out there initially that want to be a photographer, because how difficult can it be? You push a button and you make a fortune. So we do see a lot of people after December holidays and camera specials coming into the industry, but it is a very tough industry to be sustainable in, but there's definitely growth every year. A business like mine wouldn't be able to survive if it wasn't for constant growth. And what you were saying about technology as well, it's not the knowledge that we have in the digital print industry, it's the cost of the equipment. So you need a village to print. Otherwise, it would just be impossible to run a business with an excess of 15 staff members, massively expensive equipment, and all of our papers on a professional printing business is imported. Very little is available locally. So definitely, no, it's a phenomenal business to be involved in.
Karlien, thank you very much. That's Karlien Murray from At Photo. She's one of the exhibitors here. Got quite a beautiful exhibit. So if you've got nothing to do or you want to plan your day, then I definitely guarantee that the Photo and Film Expo here at the at Ticket Pro, I was going to say Coca-Cola, the Ticket Pro Dome in the north of Johannesburg is where you have to find yourself. There's a little kiddies corner here. There are some really cool cars. There are over 135 workshops over the last couple of days. Tomorrow it wraps up, but this is a great thing to do for family, friends, for the photographer enthusiast, somebody who wants to take this seriously. You can meet guys like Matt, they'll explain it to you. And the doors open at 9 o'clock, so what a great way to spend. And there's some great food here. Lebo and I, we like the food. And then Lebo, I've got the details for you. You are going to be an underwater seahorse, and I'm going to be an underwater urchin. Okay, let's go back to the studio from us. Ciao, ciao.